Okay, hang on a second.
Grace.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey. Oh, can I change Grace Spanish's name?
Yes, if you
I
click
know
in
how
the-
to do it.
Yeah, yes.
I thought
Just
Grace was
wanted to
actually
make
joining us.
sure that I wouldn't be doing anything wrong. Also, I want to tell you that Tracy McNaughton may be joining us later, so I need to keep an eye out
Oh,
for her to be able to let her in.
Okay.
Okay. There you are, Susan.
Thank you.
If you want to make me co-host, and I can watch the waiting room because you're
Okay,
taking
I
minutes.
will do that. Hang on a second. Let me see. You are now co-host.
sideways here.
We can share the job. So I guess we might wait a couple minutes to see if Martha comes on.
Martha had sent an email saying she had to pick up someone at UMass at
Oh.
5:15. It might be a little late coming in, so
Wait a
watch for
sec.
her.
Wait a sec. Somebody just entered. I think it was Martha. Well, let's
Well,
see.
Jeanette? Frank?
Well, I think that's Martha's husband.
Oh, Martha, right, yeah. Is Jeanette there?
There she
There
is.
she is.
Okay, and I'm unmuted now.
Hey, Martha.
Hello,
Hi.
hi everyone. Sorry, I'm 2 minutes late.
It's okay.
We're still waiting to open.
Well, we shouldn't wait for Tracy because she said she might be late.
Okay.
She's just going to come when she can.
Great. Okay, and we may have Becky coming in at some other time that we're not aware of yet.
Right.
Oh,
Right. So when Becky comes, that's when we will take up the transportation agenda item.
gotcha.
Okay. So shall we call ourselves to order at 5:33 p.m.
5:33.
and just say our names in alphabetical order, so we are on the record.
Okay. Bernhard, I here. Oh, here. It's not I here.
Then Martha, who's muted,
Favre here.
Gray here.
Millinger here.
Scott here.
And Stockton here.
Okay. All right.
All right.
So first I want to thank Susan for hosting us on Zoom, which is greatly appreciated and made our lives a lot easier in the Zoom realm. And so we have the minutes of January 11th, 2023. Do we have a motion to approve?
Mhm. So moved, Bernhard.
Favre, aye.
Oh,
We need a second.
second. Okay. Any discussion? No?
No.
Okay, so roll call vote.
Okay, Bernhard, I.
Favre, aye.
Gray, I.
Millinger, aye.
Scott, aye.
Stockton, I.
Okay, thank you, Susan, for doing the minutes.
You're welcome.
We can see that Tracy McNaughton is joining us. So the next, I'm just going to go ahead, Joanne, okay?
Go
Hi.
right ahead.
Hi, Tracy, welcome.
Thank you. I am just going to mute and stop video because I just got home and I'm going to run around the house doing things while I listen to you. Okay, I'll be back.
Okay. Okay, so the financial update at at our last meeting on January 11th, our balance was $4,606.38 in our grant fund. Oh, excuse me, that's not right. Pardon me. It was $4,796.38. Sorry, Susan M.
No problem.
Our January foot care expense was $190. That leaves us with a current balance of $4,606.38. Our anticipated expenses for the next 5 months for foot care is about $912.50. And we have yet to receive the invoice for the Gizette, and we estimated $550. So those two items, which total $1,462.50, we end up with an unallocated balance of $3,143.88.
Question, Bernhard, does that include the $1,000 that we designated for the library fitness classes for the?
Oh, right. Oh, thank you. No. So we designated 1,000. So subtract 1,000 from that. Thank you, Joanne.
Okay. It hasn't been billed yet, though.
No,
so
it
that's
hasn't been billed yet.
yeah.
So that'll come off of our, as a anticipated expense. So we'll add that in as an anticipated expense. And so that gives us now $2,143.88. Thank you. Good catch. Okay. And
Okay,
so, yep.
and is that good?
That's good. Yep.
Okay, so the next item is member resignation, and Linda received a letter from Susan Gomberg.
Yes. I received a phone call, and then Susan submitted, as you know, her letter of resignation. And she'd like you to know that it's just that she, reached a point that she attending meetings doesn't work for her. However, I want you to know that she, with Joanne's input, she did indeed send a thank you letter to Sue Miller, the foot care nurse who is retiring, and that if we're all in agreement, as a volunteer, Susan is willing to continue to monitor the phone line, which she's experienced at, and knows how to handle inquiries, and if something comes up that she's uncertain about, that she is in touch with me. So she's willing to continue to do that. She also would like us to know that if the time comes and the foot clinic returns in person at Town Hall, that she would be happy to coordinate the foot clinic as a volunteer.
That's wonderful.
Yes,
Wonderful.
is.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Gray
Yeah.
agrees.
Yeah, those are areas that she is, really good at, and is happy to do.
Mhm. Okay, do we need to make a motion or anything with that, Linda? I'm not sure how that works.
I think that I guess it won't hurt for the record to have a motion to accept her resignation and acknowledge the two roles.
Mhm.
She did she did CC or actually, send her resignation as well to the select board and town clerk as is
Mhm.
appropriate. So,
Mhm.
yes. So if someone would like to make a motion, that'd be great.
Excuse me, I'm not quite sure how this works. I can make a motion to accept her resignation. Is there a separate one that we need to have her stay on as a volunteer for the
Yeah,
foot
let's
clinic
do it. Yeah,
coordinator?
let's do it separate. Yeah.
Okay, I move that we accept the Susan Gomberg's resignation as of, is there a date, Linda?
Well, we'll do it. Oh, gosh.
I think it was the 23rd,
Was it
January.
the 23rd?
I can look.
Okay,
Hang on for a second. I've got it. Yeah, effective January 24th, 2023.
Oh, okay, so the I saw the letter on the 23rd then.
Yeah.
mhm.
So Joanne's made a motion, so
So-
are you done with the
To
motion?
accept the resignation as of January 24th, 2023.
Great.
Second.
Second,
Oh,
okay,
sorry.
Bernhard, I.
Favre, I.
Gray, aye.
Millinger, I.
Scott, I.
Stockton, I.
Thanks. Okay, so
Okay.
now the second motion, I'll make it.
Did, do we have to on a volunteer basis?
I don't know. What do you think, folks?
I think as long as it's Gray here, as long as it's in the minutes that she's
Mhm.
said this.
Yeah.
We need some kind of documentation somewhere, but I
Yeah.
don't know about the motion.
I agree. I think it's okay. We know that she will
Mhm.
continue as a volunteer to do these things and that it's under, I mean, if there are any questions regarding the phone, then she would be in touch with either usually myself or Joanne, and right now the foot clinic is home visits, so there's no decision regarding that. So
Mhm.
when that time comes, then Sue Gomberg would need to be involved in the planning.
Okay,
Okay,
Martha has
Martha?
Can I just ask a question? I think I'm not muted. So, I don't know how long she was on council age. It doesn't really matter, but I mean, would we as a group send her a thank you note, for serving?
Mm,
How does that work?
yeah, in the past, at least I know that part of my role as administrative secretary was to draft letters from the select board, because the select board is the appointing body.
Oh, okay.
To write a thank you note. But however, that does not preclude us as a council
Mhm.
acknowledging, that we will miss her
Hmm.
and
Mhm.
appreciate her willingness to continue. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay,
that's a really wonderful idea.
very nice suggestion. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I'll write, Susan?
Well, does this need a motion or it's just going to be something that's done?
Just do it.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
So I'll draft a letter and send it to Linda, and we should do that for Susan. Okay.
Perfect.
Okay, so the next item is transportation.
Excuse me. Sorry,
Susan.
just to interrupt here. So at some point in time, we're going to need to discuss how to do what it was that Susan has been doing in terms of reporting on Foot Clinic.
She's
Um,
going to continue.
So Susan, the current home visit bit,
Yeah.
there isn't anything to report other than the invoice, because we don't do anything regarding scheduling.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So the invoice comes to you and that's all that's
The
needed?
invoice comes, I'm sure if anyone calls for information, just like this week, we received an email inquiry about how to go about getting foot clinic services. We refer people directly to Foot Care by Nurses for scheduling, and they just let them know they're part of this Shutesbury program.
Okay, but in the past occasion, this is Millinger here. In the past occasionally, Susan has done stuff like speak to this Becky about whether it was appropriate to
Mhm.
move into the town hall, and she's had a survey. So she has had tasks that she's done, and I'm just wondering, is someone going to actually take on those tasks, or is that just going to be something that the meeting as a whole will decide who's going to do this?
Right,
if
we
it
would
needs
decide,
doing.
because we just decide on an ongoing basis what's needed. So we have a recent report from Susan at our last meeting regarding town hall. And so we as a council, then if there's going to be a change or a need for further information, then we would take that on at this point in time.
Thank you.
Martha?
I'm happy to, if we need things beyond what Susan wants to do for Foot Clinic, I'm happy to do that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
When the time comes to be in town hall, it'll be great to have two people that know the ropes.
Right.
Mhm.
Hopefully, maybe she can train me or whatever.
Yes,
Right.
yes,
Mhm.
exactly.
Mhm.
So Becky hasn't joined us yet, so we could go on to our other items.
Mhm.
And so the next item is Gazette update. And I just wondered if anyone has received any feedback on our issue.
Gray here. I have it a little. I've had one person email me thanking me for the fine article about the fire chief, and I had to explain that I did not write that. That was Martha. And someone else emailed me, or a friend said she liked it. But that's all I've heard.
Mhm.
Martha?
Bobber, I take a class in town by one of our residents, and she said, boy, there was a lot of useful information in that newsletter. So,
Oh, good.
yeah.
Wonderful.
Very good.
Yep, and we did receive one email of appreciation and a request to be on the Gazette email list. So
Oh,
we have
nice.
2 names on the email list.
Mhm.
Tracy?
So I'll just say that I thought it was wonderful too. There was a lot of really good information. The 2 articles on the police chief and the new fire chief were great. It was nice to see a little, personal stuff about them. And then the way you laid out the results from the survey was wonderful. I even circled a couple things. I don't know, reading it made me feel enticed to get involved. I thought that the whole the piece about how you can contact and help people out with their bill writing or budgeting and things like that.
Mhm.
So it was great. I loved it. And I'll put it in writing so that you can have it in writing too.
Thank you.
Helpful.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, thanks to Janice for the excellent survey article.
Mhm.
Thank you. Janice Gray has a question though. So we now have 2 people who want to get it by email. How are we doing that?
So I have I have a little folder with those 2 names in it. So so the next time we have an article, then we have 2 names.
Okay, got to remember to do that.
Yeah. So the next item, is there anything else?
Can I didn't lower my hand, so I just want to make a suggestion though about that, because I didn't know, and I just picked up the Gazette and I see where you have it on the bottom that I can get it by email, but I didn't notice that. I don't know, I was just thinking maybe if there's a way you could put it near the top, like under, I don't know, just thinking maybe another, or maybe a couple different places. Because I'll email you, because I'd like to get
Mhm.
things by email now, so.
Okay,
All
all right.
Question. First of all, I just repeated the format that's been used in the past. I can put it somewhere else, but the question I have is, if you ask to receive it by email, does that mean you're taken off of the hard copy mailing list.
Yes, if that's, that would be that's the
Mhm.
understanding. is
Okay.
that We want to receive, we'd rather receive it by email than by mail. So those names have to come off. So that's my job as the keeper of the very challenging maintenance of the mailing list. As Joanne knows, it's really a project once we get to, maintaining, keeping it current on our end. And then once we send it to Ken at Adams Direct Mail Services, he puts it through the US Postal Service required software. And he gets all the changes and picks up all of our potential mistakes. And it's a little bit of a journey, but he's very patient and all good. So anyway, we take those people who want an email, a copy off the list.
Okay.
Okay.
So I made a note. What I could do is I could put that box up under the flag where it says the Gazette. And I also, my husband, who has not looked at the Gazette in the past, because we do get it in hard copy, he actually read it this time. And he noticed something that I had not, which says that on the mailing address, whatever, is not a label, but my name is misspelled. So
Oh,
he thought that was interesting that
oh,
Ray on the COA's name is misspelled on the mailing label.
all right. I'm going to
Oh.
check that. I made myself a note.
Okay.
Because we put all of that information in manually, Joanne and I.
Okay. But my last name is spelled with an E, not an A.
Okay, so
Yes.
we,
But that was the thing, and I thought I'm not even going to mention it, but since we were talking about it, okay.
yes, no, we want to make as
Okay.
many corrections as possible.
Okay, that's all.
Okay, so the next item is our town article. So I don't know if everyone has had a chance to read it, and if you have any inputs.
I did a little when you're ready.
Okay.
So, are we ready?
Sure.
Okay, so let me find it. Here, I printed it out and scribbled some things. Under the section, if everyone's had a chance to look at it or follow along, resource updates, community action, VITA, or whoever it's pronounced, free tax assistance program. I read that hastily, as I imagine many of our readers would. And I was thinking, oh, help with your taxes, like doing your taxes, because there are volunteers who do that. And then I realized it was totally different. And I'm wondering if we could add something explaining what the senior circuit breaker credit is, because
Oh, this isn't about this is about actually helping you with your tax returns.
oh, it is.
Yes,
Okay, then
yes.
then I'm totally confused about what this is.
Free tax assistance program, free tax return assistance program. How about if I put that in there?
Yeah, but then what, to me, the senior circuit breaker credit, that made me think of Kevin's article about the circuit breaker state income tax credit, which is apparently totally different.
Yeah, this is the state program, and I took this language directly from their information.
This is Martha.
Martha?
I mean, I read that and I went, whoa, everybody might respond to this. If you're over 65 and paying too much for your mortgage or rent, I mean, based on what?
Okay,
That's
but
why-
you see the caveat there, the last sentence, income limits apply. Okay, so
Income
so
limits
when
apply,
you,
right.
I can tell you that when you go to communityaction.us/.taxes, you are able to see what the income limits are, and they're quite restrictive. For a single person, you have, your income is less than $33,000 a year in order to qualify for this free tax return assistance program.
Okay, all right.
Okay. Yeah.
So Millinger, so maybe it would be helpful to put that higher up.
Okay, I just copied it. I don't know.
I understand that you copied it, but it sounds like from Martha's perspective, Martha's suggestion that people might easily overlook that.
I
If
still
it's
think
the,
it's
if
confusing.
it's the end. of the piece.
Yeah, maybe paying too much for your mortgage or rent, in parentheses, income limits apply. You may be eligible for senior circuit breaker. I mean, I thought.
No, it's your all right, I'm gonna change it to say income limits, income limits apply for participation in this program.
Yes,
Mhm.
that sounds good.
And I think whatever you said earlier, this is Grace speaking, explaining that this is a tax preparation assistance program. I still think that will head off some confusion.
Yep, I'm putting that in the good
Hmm.
suggestion. I'm fixing it as we talk.
Okay. Because I missed the point completely.
So I'm changing the title to Community Action, blah, 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 Free Tax Return Preparation Assistance Program. If you are, income limits apply for participation in this program. Okay?
Maybe we'll have bus service by then. This is Favre.
Okay, anything else, folks?
Not the same thing.
Let's see.
What is the Favre? What is the home modification loan program? For what does that mean? I mean, are there like small projects, or is there any more of an explanation for that?
I was trying. I can add more in there for sure. We have written about it in the past, but I'm happy to put more in. I was trying to keep it,
Short.
short.
Yeah. Sorry.
But I can look up something, because if you're asking the question, that means other people will too. So I will add a little bit of an explanation, because these are things like ramps, that kind of thing.
It's on,
Um,
look on our webpage, because you have
Yes.
some examples there that I stole from you, that you stole from somewhere else at some
Right,
point.
right.
Oh,
So
okay, all right. Oh my, all right.
So I will put a little bit in there of the examples. Good suggestion, just because. Yep.
Hmm.
Because it's helpful, because like you know I know what these things are, and they're on our webpage, but it doesn't mean that people reading it are gonna know. And anything else?
This is Favre again. So our member Janice Gray, Grey.
No,
No.
GRAY is correct.
Oh, AY is correct. Okay, all right.
The address label said EY.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
And I don't know if you need even to mention me to save space, just said, please visit our webpage.
Okay,
I don't need to get singled out.
okay, all right. Take
I
that
thought
out.
at first when I read that, you were going to say, so please send her information you want to see on the webpage. So,
Oh no, that
yeah. So anyway, just,
okay,
I don't need it. Save more space for something else.
okay, got it.
Favre, one more question. So SNAP members, they were cutting, well, they're cutting the benefits as of the end of the month, or March 3rd, but
That's-
so I'm just curious, that 40 to 80 extra dollars on the EBT card,
Mhm.
that's just is that a one-time thing?
That's the HIP, that's a separate program.
Oh, all right, that's HIPAA. Okay, all
That's the
right.
HIP, yep,
Yep.
yep.
Okay,
And that's directly from the latest information from the HIP folks.
okay.
Okay,
Susan?
I'm not sure whether your article includes this or not, but I think I just read somewhere that Healy is giving more time for the extra benefits, or for some portion of the extra benefits.
yeah, but that's not SNAP, because SNAP is federal. So I don't know.
Well, okay, I shouldn't push it because I don't remember the details that I
Okay.
read, but it seemed to me that she was supplementing
Ah,
to make
Hmm.
up for what the feds are dropping.
okay.
And I
Oh,
have
can you
no
find that?
idea where I saw that.
Well,
Can you find it?
Well, it might have been in the paper, but it might have been in some of the LAC discussions, but I think it must have been in the paper. I'll look for it. When do you need to have this information by?
this goes into Janice
Janice?
on the 15th?
Yeah, the official deadline is the 15th.
Yeah.
Oh,
15th.
okay. Well, I should be able to try to dig that out.
Okay, all right, and if you'll let me know, Susan, then I
Yeah.
will, you know, I'll add in any new, you know, highlight that information.
Mhm.
Martha?
Can I make a comment? This is Barbara. So I got on with the SNAP coalition, and so yes, there's action to filing legislation to restore state-funded SNAP and TAFDC cash benefits for that's immigrants to Mass. I get these things. I'll look through this again and make sure we're not missing anything.
Great, thank you both, because it's good to be able to, you know, provide information to folks. Okay, so we don't have Becky yet.
Okay. Well, this is Bernhardt. Should I go ahead with the Life Path Transportation Committee? And so we
Sure.
can catch up with that, and then yeah, so we have from the Life Path survey, people have broken into different committees, different working groups. And I'm on the transportation committee along with Elizabeth Fernandez O'Brien from Village Neighbors. And the other members are Meg Ryan from FERCOG, and two men from the Rides for Health program that LifePath runs, and a woman who's with the COA in Buckland. So that's the committee. What we've been looking at are the data from the survey from all the towns. There are 28 different towns who filled out the survey that Janice delineated. And we're looking at the task now after 2 meetings is to come up with problem statements about transportation in the area. I think that the two biggest issues that we've been talking about are that the larger towns like Greenfield have a lot of different transportation options, whereas the small towns like Shutesbury and Buckland have no transportation options. So it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to draw conclusions from all of that. The problem in terms of Shutesbury, of course, is that we have very limited transportation options. The MedRide program of COA having been suspended for the pandemic. Village Neighbors is still, I believe, as far as I know, providing transportation. And that's it. The FRTA program, Franklin Regional Transit Authority programs that we're looking into, that Becky's going to join us about. There's a regular bus route that goes around, but that's not something that we can sustain here. But the other thing is the on-demand program, whereby a potential rider would contact FRTA and say, I need a ride scheduled for this date, this time. And the FRTA van would come and pick that person up and take them to their designated destination. There are a number of questions that arise from this. The FRTA program is actually set up so that the riders pay for the transportation. The alternative for that is that the town pays for the transportation for the riders. And I think Lynn and I were looking at, calculating what a ride would actually be. And we came up with what, Linda, like round trip, it would be like close to $10.
It's depending where, how far you're
Depending on
going.
how far you go.
Right,
There's a flat rate and then there's a mileage rate.
Their med ride program, FRTA's, oh, excuse me, you know what, Becky's ready. I sent her a text reminder.
Okay,
So she's ready. So
okay.
anyway, right, the med ride, their med ride program, FRTA's med ride program for out of county invoices the clients at 40 cents a mile.
Right. Well, they have there are two programs. The
Right,
on-demand program, which is of Franklin County town members, of
Right.
which there are 28.
Right.
And then there's a program that will take people from Franklin County outside the county for medical things outside the county. And that's another one where I believe the riders are paying for that. But that program is not available to people inside Franklin County. So there are two
For
separate
appointments
things
inside
going on
Franklin,
here.
right, yeah.
Yeah, right.
So is the
Um,
demand response bus, is that only for in county?
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
yes. And apparently there's an issue with crossing the county line. So there's an internal Franklin County and there's an external Franklin County. And they're two different programs. And that's one of the problem statements that we're going to address in the committee, is that crossing county lines appears to be a problem. This also might pertain to going down to Pioneer Valley, which is Hampshire County, Hampshire, right?
Hampshire.
Yeah,
Well,
which Leverett accesses. So there are all kinds of bits and pieces of things going along here. Hi, Becky.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, welcome.
Hi, I'm sorry, I didn't realize I was muted and my video was off and I started thinking, where am I? I apologize. I think I came in that way and
So we were just starting to talk about the life path survey issues around transportation, of which I'm on the committee. But you have questions for us to answer or to find solutions to, and we'd like to know what those questions are.
Sure. And as I've been working through this puzzle, I did just hear you describe there are issues with county lines, and they are they're like different countries. They operate on a different set of rules. They are governed by separate board of trustee bodies, and they have not had a new member in the Pioneer Valley, a new member town for longer than they can remember, for probably over 20 years. So when I asked for how do we become a member of the Pioneer Valley, he took a while to figure it out. He still has not given me 100% answer, but it seems to be chicken and egg type of situation where before they want to commit to taking on Shutesbury, they would want to know what services Shutesbury is looking to have provided to them.
Mhm.
So I don't feel, this is not, taking that next step. I think we need, I think in the long run, it would, or the short term, I think we need to really survey the community on what those services are, just Shutesbury, not the regional, just starting with Shutesbury, because this is a Shutesbury contract that would be developed if Pioneer, and first, before we even get into that step, the town has to be comfortable joining Pioneer Valley, because it likely would mean leaving Franklin County.
Oh,
Okay,
Oh, my.
oh.
Janice?
I just want to make sure we're all on the same page. When you were talking about Pioneer Valley, you're not talking about a geographical formation. You're talking about Pioneer Valley
Transit.
Transit Authority
Right.
versus
Yeah.
Franklin Regional Transit Authority.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
And I have a question, because when you say leaving FRTA, we're not really, I know we're part of them, but we're not receiving anything from them.
Right.
Mhm.
So,
So it's one or the other. You're saying it's one or the other.
yeah,
Okay.
but until we defined what the services that the town would hope to get from Pioneer Valley, we would want to, yeah, it's tricky because you want to represent, we have to go in with some concept of what we want, and you really need to do it right. You need to reach out to the community, but they won't really commit to what's going to be available. So you have to, yeah, and I think this all needs to be done before the town's accepted. Because it's going to be based on, two things, what they're willing to provide for us. And I do have a brief outline, but at this point, I just needed your feedback and direction on where to go. So we need to determine what the community wants, and then we need to match it up with what we can get from FRTA. But I think you've already been around that block a few dozen times. From what I've been hearing. So then you would want to know exactly what you can get from Pioneer Valley Transit. And then we would have to go through the governmental process of going to town meeting and having a town meeting vote to make the change.
Okay.
Susan Millinger?
Well, I guess that's what I was going to ask about, Becky, is how would we get into Hampshire County? Would that be the state finally accepting us as a member of Hampshire County instead of Franklin?
We're not switching counties.
Okay.
We're staying in the county where we are. Pioneer Valley Transit already has Leverett as a participating town. Leverett is not in FRTA. And so there's a precedent, and their geography is so similar to ours and embedded into the Amherst community. The reasoning is the same. They're not currently taking a lot of advantage of what they have. Their services are not much from what I understand. I don't think they have maybe they just utilize on-demand services. But they face this, their town administrator told me that every year she has a piece of paper where someone will, somebody from the Council on Aging will bring up the issue every year, should we stay in Pioneer Valley? So it might be good to talk a little bit more if your group, if the Shutesbury Council on Aging were to talk with Leverett and share their experiences, and then maybe even working together to get more services together. Because I think for the Board of Trustees of Pioneer Valley, their decisions are in part based on finances. So we would receive assessment, or, we would have to pay assessments that would be more significant. Because currently our assessment is not significant in any way. But that's what we get for services too.
Right.
So I just felt like I needed to talk to you all, but I really couldn't go further. I could meet with FRTA is happy to meet with us. PVTA said they would meet with us, but I didn't want to meet alone. So I also wanted to ask who from your organization would want to participate in those meetings. And I'm sorry, I do see 2 hands up, so I should.
So
I have a second question, which is if county lines are a problem, if we were to be in FRTA, the best way to get to Greenfield is to go through Leverett, which is not in Franklin County. Would that
No,
be
it
a
is
problem?
it is in Franklin County.
Leverett is in Franklin County. Okay.
Yeah, Leverett's in Franklin County.
Tracy?
Yes, I was just wondering, Becky, you mentioned it's about, kind of about money for the organization. And I was thinking about the fact that the ADA vans don't come to Shutesbury either, and they're a PVTA thing. I just was thinking maybe like that would be an additional need that could be joined together. Because I do know there's some folks in town. I work with folks with developmental disabilities, and that's definitely an issue. They can't, no vans can come here.
Right.
And
That's what we're talking about.
Oh, it's the same thing.
We're talking about on demand, which is van, and they're completely accessible.
And okay, so they're the ADA, the Americans with Disabilities, the vans that get.
Yeah.
Same
Yep,
thing.
that's what we're talking about. Yep.
Yay.
Right. Either way, FRTA or PVTA
Jeanette,
have
did you have
accessible
something?
vans.
I was just so curious back when why and I'm sort of listening to Becky now, why the interest in doing PVTA rather than FRTA. And just historically, I think a lot of this came up because Village Neighbors, which I am involved with, was interested in kind of pushing this agenda to get other transportation, just other than just Village Neighbors people driving people all over creation. And in addition, Village Neighbors was also making the motion that they would help subsidize Village Neighbor members when they did use these services, whatever they end up being. So I'm just curious, Becky, I guess, what are the advantages or benefits, disadvantages of doing PVTA rather than FRTA? I don't know, and I'm curious.
Well, it comes down to, even talking with Mike Peralt at FRTA, is it's more expensive for them to deliver Shutesbury residents into Amherst. So if the goal is for Shutesbury residents to be able to get to Northampton and Amherst, where predominant number of doctors and health facilities are for our community, to achieve that, it's much cheaper for PVTA to do it than it is for Greenfield to do it. So there's a practical nature that just makes sense.
Thank you.
FRTA doesn't want to lose us, but they are upfront about, the basics. And when you compare the basics, going somewhere else could really improve our situation. I had pushed 2 separate times to get more transportation through FRTA for seniors in Shutesbury. There had been a push by the old Council on Aging with Marilyn Tibbetts and other folks 10, 13 years ago. But they recalled the days when they all participated in a van program that once a week would take them into the grocery store and to do their shopping, and they would end and then a couple of other places to pick up essentials. And they would end their day by going to the Chinese restaurant on night. And it
Right.
was a source of great, great memories, and they wanted to recreate that. But I had a lot of difficulty figuring out how to make that happen when I worked with FRTA 12 years ago. And they basically were offering us to an old van that the town could own, and we could facilitate it by hiring our own drivers, and et cetera. The cost of that and the maintenance and the full program ended up over $50,000, and was not really in line with what had been provided to the town in the memories of our past council on aging.
Right.
So in 2016, I pushed, and they finally did the survey. I think you guys have seen the 2016 survey, which again did not open the doors wide to have this program.
Right.
Shutesbury and an
The
affordable
famous senior Surrey.
Yes, the famous senior Surrey from the good old days in the 90s, I guess, 80s and 90s. So I think at this point we need to figure out if you guys would want to figure out somebody that I could work with as a point person and hold meetings with the folks at PVTA and FRTA and get clear definition of the survey they would want us to do, and also come back to you all and have the questions about what van service can we get, and what van service do you feel the community really wants? And it's clear it's ADA van service from what you're saying. And then, but I think the next step is to have those conversations with PVTA and FRTA. And I just did not want to move ahead on that alone without a representative from your organization. from the
So-
council.
So Joanne, since you're still doing this life path kind of transportation, if I offer to help with this, would you also maybe be in on these conversations, or is that putting too much on you?
No, I can be a person on that. And once we get done with this life path working group, we'll have a little better information, I think, about what's going on. Yeah.
Okay. So
But
Becky, there's your
this
team.
is very interesting because the FRTA program, the two FRTA programs, the on-demand and the access programs, taking people outside the county. I think they're thinking more in terms of east, like to Gardner and places like that. I don't think they're thinking that much in terms of Amherst and Northampton. So those are questions to be asked of them.
About their med ride out of county program.
Where are they taking people now mostly?
Yeah.
And what's the need? And the other thing is, I was noting in the meeting that of the 28 towns in Franklin County, only 3 of them are actually using the FRTA on-demand service. That being Irving, Greenfield, and Orange. Oh, I think Wendell also uses
Wendell
it
is,
a little
yes,
bit.
we know
Yeah,
Wendell is
yeah.
because you have the.
So only 4. And how much can they enlarge this program to all these little towns all over the place? What kind of resources do they have to have in order to enlarge the program? Whereas if we worked with PVTA, this is just off the top of my head now, it would just be coming up to Shutesbury from, I guess, is Amherst the home of the van service, or, it wouldn't be as,
I think it might
it
even.
doesn't seem.
They're in Springfield.
Northampton.
They're-
What?
They are all over Hampton and Hampshire County.
Yeah, it could be.
Right, I don't-
Springfield, but I think there's a base in Northampton I
Okay.
need to check, I'm guessing, but I think.
Yeah,
remember
where,
his-
where the base is there a person I can talk to, Becky, that without, just to get some background information without hauling you into it yet?
That would be Michael.
Who are you talking to?
Paul, I have it written down. I think it's Paul Johnson.
Okay.
But part of the other issue, Joanne, is
Yeah.
that's why we really need to work together. He
Right.
was incredibly difficult to get a hold of. He's incredibly busy. And I think it might be a better approach if we establish a meeting and then you can ask your questions about the other issue at the same meeting instead of trying to track him down, because I found him very difficult to get a
Okay.
response from.
Mhm. Good,
Um,
yeah.
And
Mhm.
what organization is he from? Can you say his name again, please?
I think it's Paul Johnson. I could be wrong on the
Okay.
last name. He's the director of the PVTA.
And Michael Peralt is FRTA.
Correct. And he's the
He's
assistant.
very, very easy to
Yeah, no, he's
engage with.
very easy, but he goes through his director. I mean, but she's always been accessible too. I think they're not as busy. I think it's a much larger program covering Hampshire and Hampden County than what's going on in Franklin County. So I think that's part of the issue. And but I could, if I set up a meeting and then I can ask him, Joanne, if he has, if we can have have you ask your questions at the meeting as well and roll it all together, because it'd probably be mutually beneficial, or if he would prefer you just to call him. And I'll
Okay.
ask and then get you the information.
And is there a point person in Leverett that you've talked to already?
I've talked to their town administrator, Margie Guinness. She
Okay,
can give me the name of the person who always brings up the questions about it on the council.
okay.
Susan.
And I'll give you that name too, Joanne.
Sorry, Becky, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Susan M?
Yeah, I think I hope this is relevant. It seems to me that most people in Shutesbury are directed more towards Amherst and Hadley than they are towards Greenfield. Would you say that's a fair
Yes,
assumption?
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Okay, so that means to me that it makes more sense to focus on PVTA.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Right. I just didn't realize that it had to be one or the other.
Right. We thought we could have both.
Why can't we have both?
You know what? In the end, you also still have village neighbors. Just remember that.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can village neighbors be surveyed as to the destination of their
I don't
ride?
know. I don't know. What standing does Village Neighbors have with FRTA?
That's why we're trying to be involved in this, because we're trying to, we're individual drivers. If I'm understanding your question.
No, what my question is more about, as an entity, Village Neighbors is a multi-town.
Mhm.
And I think participation is regulated by town.
I still don't understand your.
Participation in PVTA or FRTA is regulated by town.
Yeah.
Oh,
because
okay.
Their
So,
program works through assessments that are done through the state cherry sheet. And you guys don't have a cherry sheet.
and that's why we've had this big push to get Shutesbury involved, because our understanding was that Shutesbury had for you to, I'm confused even when you're saying that we are involved with FRTA, because our understanding was that Shutesbury was not signed up, whereas Wendell, New Salem, and Leverett all
That's
have.
not accurate. That's not
Okay.
accurate. No, we've
Okay.
I spent years attending meetings.
Mhm.
Other people have attended FRTA meetings. The issue has been that the services that, they did assist us for a number of years with working with Stavros to get rides for our seniors. That was active for quite a while and petered out around 2011 or 12. But we did have those services till then. But like I said, my efforts and the town efforts to replace those services have not. And I think in part it's Wendell and New Salem are connected to Orange and Irving. And so the larger towns have created the services, and then New Salem and Wendell have been able to be, branch off from those. But our large town is Amherst, and it's out of the picture. So we haven't been able to tie into a network. And when we did the survey in 2016, it still didn't pan out because of the economics. We could have taken on a van and spent a ton of money and gotten some support from them, but it's not that we just didn't have access to similar level of services. And that's what we still are trying to get.
Okay. So we need to survey Shutesbury seniors to find out if the destinations of choice are, how many people would want services to the south, basically, and how many people would need services to the north.
Right.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Tracy, you're muted.
Yes, so I think that I wasn't very clear earlier. There are some folks in town who are not seniors, but have disabilities. And I know would desperately, have desperately wanted a service like this coming in. So I feel like a survey should include anybody who would qualify for through the Americans with Disabilities Act, which wouldn't just be seniors, because it sounds to me, Becky, I'm not quite clear if this is what you're saying, but a need has to be assessed, and the PVTA will make a decision based on whether or not, because they're not going to just come out here for two people, is what I'm
Right.
kind of, yeah.
Right.
So the more people that show a need, like I'm going to make some phone calls this week to some people I know who might want, that are not seniors. So I don't know how that would be, because this is the Council on Aging, and your survey is naturally going to go to folks that are in that age bracket. But so I don't know how you might get the word out to people who qualify for ADA.
If I understand correctly, like I know the FRTA program is for people 60 and older, people who have disabilities, people who are life path eligible, people who are in nursing homes, and people who are veterans. So there's a whole, and I don't know about PVTA, but I know there are other criteria that people can fit in to go on these vans.
Right. Right. But if you're sending a mailing or a questionnaire out to seniors, you're not going to catch those people. So I don't know how that.
Yeah.
Right. So we'll take that into consideration as to how to best do the survey. So, yeah.
If it would have to have a component that maybe went out on to the whole population.
Right. Like if we did
Utilizing the newsletter.
Yeah, or doing something, doing an online survey. We'll have to talk about what makes the most sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's some big pieces, but I think it's doable. But it would be great to I'm going to try to set up so who again? It would be the point people for the
Joanne. Yeah.
Okay.
And Jeanette Stockton.
Okay.
Jeanette.
Thank you, Jeanette.
Yeah.
Jeanette and okay, so I guess the first step for me is I'll try to get that program's a meeting set up. I think I want to set up 2 meetings. I also want to set up with FRTA just to review all the options one more time with them. And,
Mhm.
but I'd like to meet with PVTA first. And then, so we kind of can, Mike is so helpful. He can help us review whatever information we get from PVTA and evaluate that. And then bring that all back to you all.
Okay,
That sounds okay.
sounds good.
Sounds
Great.
very good.
Thank you, Becky.
Okay, let's see
So
if we can
thank you so much.
keep
Yes,
this moving.
thank you. Thank you, Becky.
Great to talk to you all.
Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah.
Sure. Have a good meeting.
Bye.
Bye. Okay. Well, that complicates
Not gonna
things.
have very detailed. The secretary's not gonna have very detailed notes about this because she was listening too hard. She's just gonna have general conclusions. Is that
Mhm.
okay?
Yes.
I think that's okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think if
I
we-
mean, basically, we have to see what services each entity provides and which one would be most beneficial for Shutesbury.
Yep.
And can I just ask something? Did I understand correctly that she's saying that we are already signed up with them? We're just not really using it at this point?
Correct. We are members of FRTA. We are members. Yes.
And yeah, and that's like,
We are?
okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
she just said. And I mean, why, I mean, I've been in select board meetings about this and meeting with people, and it's never been that clear and pointed before. And I
Right.
just don't understand that, but that's okay.
We are,
I don't
we're
need to.
we're members, but we don't, the only program that people can get is right now, is the MedRide out of county.
Okay, thank you.
Volunteer MedRide driver out of county appointments. That's the only thing.
Oh, we can do that now? We are?
can
I
u-
did,
we
I'm
can-
sorry.
We can use that, but we can't use the on-demand. We do not have any
Okay.
for on-demand.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize we were members.
Yes, yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
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 Well, that's something to put out there already.
We have,
It's in the Gazette.
it's in the Gazette.
In the
Okay,
survey article, there's a little separate paragraph explaining there's these 3 different programs of FRTA, and the only one we can get is the MedRide.
okay.
Yeah.
Unless people are members of LifePath.
And then they can apply for then they can use the Life Path.
Use the LifePath
MedRide
yeah.
program. Yeah,
MedRide program
Or village neighbors, right?
or Village.
or
Neighbors.
Village Neighbors,
Yeah.
right?
No.
Okay,
Okay,
Barbara, can I
Martha?
ask one question? So, anyhow, Franklin County, the FRTA outside of the county for med appointments, so that would get them to Cooley. It would get them to down in the valley.
Mhm.
Okay. It doesn't make sense that it's so county restrictive and yet they'll go.
right. I mean, in that MedRide is a volunteer program, so it depends on the availability of someone to drive a person from Shutesbury to wherever out of county.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Mhm.
So that's almost like the village neighbors in terms of, well,
Yeah.
okay, thank you.
yeah, except the question that hasn't been asked and answered yet is, do the riders wait for the person and bring them back? Or
Oh,
do they have to apply for a separate ride back?
Oh, yeah, we don't.
Wow.
know.
We don't, we'll ask that question, but
Tracy,
or
sorry. Joanne.
I'm going to assume that the service is the same for seniors as it is for folks with developmental disabilities who qualify for ADA. And the way it works is that you have to call in and set up your ride. They give you an hour window, basically, meaning if let's say you had a 9 o'clock doctor's appointment in the morning, you are gonna, you might get picked up as early as 8 o'clock. They give a window, and you have to set up a ride to and from. They don't wait for you. They go off and they try to coordinate the rides in an order. There's somebody who does that every day.
Mhm.
That's the way it works. I'm going to assume it's the same.
That's the on-demand.
That's the on demand.
That's
That's
what I
the
mean. We're
on
talking
demand.
about MedRide, the MedRide.
Oh, I thought you were speaking. I'm sorry. I thought you were
Because
wondering.
we do not have on-demand.
Right, but
here.
isn't that what you're looking for with the PVTA? Yeah, that's what I was explaining.
Okay, yeah, oh, I see, yeah,
Offers,
yeah.
but that's how PVTA works.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, so thank you, Joanne and Jeanette, for volunteering to work with Becky. It's really great, and I guess then we have to be thinking about a survey.
Mhm.
Yeah. I was thinking about that too, even for some, Becky brought up that the survey, in order to get people who are not just on our mailing list, needs to go to everybody in town. And we will have a spring Our Town.
Right, right.
You know, the
Mhm.
one that the deadline for next week, that we can't possibly have that by then, but there will be one
Right.
before town meeting. And so we could put it in there, and the survey might ask, you know, I don't know, I'm brainstorming, but you know, if you are, I don't know the language even, but you know, we particularly hope seniors and people who need ADA services or whatever answer the survey, and maybe in the survey ask the question so that we can, I don't know how we would winnow out the groups we're trying to get, but we can't do it just by sending it to the Gazette list, because we'll miss a lot of
Yeah,
people.
no.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I think you're right, Janice, so we can think about the spring Our Town and, you know, how it would be, well, you know, how it would be formatted within the context of the newsletter. But we have some time to brainstorm about a survey in the meantime.
And it can't be an insert either.
Correct, it can't be.
It'll have to be a
Mhm.
page that you cut out with scissors.
Right, that's what was on my mind. Jeanette and Joanne will have some more information for us too as they proceed and
Probably needs to be
Oh.
fairly simple, straightforward.
yeah.
Yeah, just like, do you want to go north and east, which would be like some medical facility in Athol or something, if that's even in Franklin
Well,
County.
also Greenfield.
Well, yeah, well, I mean that, but it's not just north
Yeah.
and south. It's
No,
north and east
Mhm.
and south and
Mhm.
west.
Right,
Only in
And,
this case, this
Mhm.
way.
well,
Right.
right.
actually, it's just a question of Franklin County or Hampshire County. Which do you want to go to for your services?
Yeah,
Mhm.
And knowing that you can still get to the other ones because there are other services available.
Yeah.
My whole concern about this is that we're doing all this, I mean, countless hours on so many people's efforts, and it's like, it better get used.
Mhm.
Well, that's why the last FRTA survey didn't lead to anything, because not enough people wanted to go use
Right.
this.
Right, we now have anecdotal data from
Right.
from the age-friendly survey.
Yeah.
Yep,
indicating-
yep.
And the other
Yeah.
worry is that it's easier in a way to just call up village neighbors and they come and, you know, you don't have to, it seems like it's almost a little bit easier. So some people within village neighbors have questioned, you know, are we making it, we've already made it easy, but you know,
Mhm.
I'm certainly willing to continue because we build it and maybe it will get used.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm. So Jeanette, that's why I was asking, is it possible to look through your records to see where people are going?
Oh. Everywhere, truly. I mean, really everywhere. There's someone going to Gardner on Friday.
Mhm.
So,
Right.
you know,
Right, yes, I mean, that's why,
Mhm.
yes, and to just add into it, when the Council on Aging had our MedRide program, we expanded east to Athol Orange area because there was an interest in going that direction.
mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah. as
And
well.
also to Springfield, also further south.
And
Yeah.
further south. Yes, just for as far as Springfield. Yes.
Yeah, I think we drive to wherever we can get someone to agree to drive to, right, Martha?
Tracy, did you have something?
I was just gonna make just two thoughts in terms of like surveying, maybe a multi-pronged way of surveying to be sure that you're capturing people, like the mailing is one way, but some people don't need, just throw those right into the trash. Something online, I think. I don't know what your capabilities are. I mean, I'd be certainly, when I'm saying this, I'm offering, I'd help and sit down and type things up, do whatever needed, but ways of getting that information from people and not feeling like, well, we didn't get that many surveys back, so there's not an interest. Because what Jeanette's saying, it's clear that there is. It's just getting them to let the town know. And the other thought I was thinking with Jeanette, is there a possibility that, because it sounds like it's a little overwhelming for village neighbors to keep up with the driving? No.
I mean, I think that most of our asks get filled very, very seldom, do they not? But
Right.
I think the change in our senior population, what is it, about 30% or something just in the last few years? If that's
Doubled.
exponential, yeah, if that's exponential, I think we're gonna need a little help. And this is a governmental thing. I mean, it should be not only, just helping hands.
Right.
And loving hearts, but rather put your money where your mouth is.
Right. What I was thinking is that if once there's more information about the program and what it could be, what we could get from PVTA, then because you said, you're worried that people are kind of stuck, they like the village neighbors things, they can pick up the phone, they can call, if somebody they know. Sorry, that's my dog. How can we get people to move off of? And maybe I was just thinking it might be something like, these are the places that village neighbors can do because we have PVTA to do these places. And it's sort of then, gets to use the PVTA, and then the village neighbors becomes something that if you're having to go somewhere that you can't go with PVTA, then we'll do it. So
Yeah.
we get more of a real read on the need. And I'll mute myself because he's not stopping.
I think the other beautiful thing about it is that I believe there's wheelchair accessible, which is we're offering it and we're not supposed to.
Right, yeah.
Right.
That was the problem with the COA MedRide too, is that we couldn't assist people.
Right.
No
Yeah.
wheelchairs. Yeah.
No
one thing we
wheelchairs,
need to
no
think-
walkers, yeah.
One thing we need to think about in the survey is making sure caretakers answer too. And I'm also thinking one of the problems we had with the big survey is that we have very few responses from people who are 80 plus. And we need to think about how to reach those folks because they would have needs, definitely would have needs. We might even want to think about a supplemental telephone call or dropping by to get folks that we know are 80 plus. If they don't answer the surveys, which has been our past experience.
Right. Even though even though like for the age friendly one, they received a direct mailing.
Right.
So I just want to say we've got about 10 minutes.
Okay.
So we'll just do a couple more.
Okay, so we will look into what PVTA has to offer. And I think we have the information from FRTA. And compare those two and then try and find out where most people want to go. And develop it from there, meeting with the two entities from FRTA and PVTA. And in the meantime, I'll try and find someone from the Leverett COA. They've been fairly dysfunctional. And see if I can find out something from them.
It sounds like
Wendell,
Becky has
we got that
sounds
nice
like Becky has a
email.
way for you to contact that person.
Well, that's the town administrator, but.
No, but she said the
the-
town administrator would give you the name of the person from COA who's always squawking about transportation.
I bet I
Okay,
know who it
yeah.
is. I think I might know who it is, Joanne.
Do you have a name?
Well, I don't want to say it right now, but
Oh, you can,
we
you
could
can
talk.
email me. Okay,
Thank you.
okay,
Okay,
yeah. Yeah,
thanks.
and then Nancy from Wendell sent that nice email that I forwarded to all of you. And they do use the FRTA on demand system. So as far as I know, I have a friend who's on the COA in New Salem, and she said they did not use it, even though they're listed as having it. So I don't know what the deal is there.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
okay, so we'll get some information and get back to everybody.
Jeanette, did you have something else? Your hand? is-
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This little paw. I just like it. Yellow.
Yeah, people keep shifting around. Their squares keep shifting around.
So the only other item on our agenda is to talk about potential programming, and I don't know if folks have energy for that right now or would like to wait till our meeting in March to talk about, well, of course, we're going to carry over transportation and
Mhm.
our usual items, but programming, we could carry it over if you know.
Mhm. This is Bernhard. I think it's a little confusing now with programming, because before we did some really nice programming that was in person. And so how would we approach programming? You
Well,
know,
what
if
I-
we wanted to, yeah,
I was going to say, like, for example, if we wanted to invite someone from LifePath, we would arrange a Zoom session and people
Oh.
would attend by Zoom. The LifePath person would be the feature and they'd make a presentation and then there'd be some time for questions and answers.
I'd
Mhm.
like to suggest we put this off to the next meeting when we have a little more energy.
Yes. I agree.
Okay.
I totally agree with that, but I did want to mention that Village Neighbors is starting to invite people in to their monthly meeting, and we're hoping that in the near future, I can't give you anything more specific, that we're hoping to invite the COAs, the COA members.
Mhm.
So it's kind of working together. We can
Mhm.
get this information with probably less effort on everybody's parts. So just wanted to throw that out there, and I'm lowering my hand right now.
Great.
Oh,
All right.
Jeanette, just one question. Are you talking about, for instance, a LifePath person coming to a meeting of the board
Yes.
or all village neighbors?
Well, I think, that's an interesting question. I think we were thinking of inviting maybe the COAs to participate in some of these people that we're trying to bring somebody in every meeting, just to get information quickly. LifePath actually came to our last meeting and kind of gave us a quick survey of everything that they have available. And then we have, gosh, I can't remember exactly, but some big gun from somewhere coming soon too. And, it's a way of sharing it. But you're right, it's not necessarily for the public at this time.
Right.
Mhm.
So just wanted to mention that.
Okay.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Motion to adjourn, unless anybody has anything else.
I have a
Susan?
quick question.
Yeah.
I have discovered that there's a bill before the legislature this year, which has been a COA supported bill for some time, which has to do with improving the situation for seniors who have deferred taxes and get hit when they die and somebody else has to pay the taxes right away, or if they should happen to sell their house and have to pay the taxes right away. And I was wondering if this group would be interested in me finding out more about this particular bill and bringing it to us so that we could be supportive of it.
Sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's very interesting.
Thank you, Susan.
Thank you.
Okay, with all that in mind, this is Bernhard. I move that we adjourn the meeting at 6:54 p.m.
Barbara, second.
Second,
Thank you,
roll
Martha.
call vote. Bernhard, aye.
Barbara, I.
Gray, eye.
Todd, I think you're next.
Susan is.
Did you go?
No,
Susan?
Mellinger.
I did. I said
Oh, we did?
Millinger. aye.
Oh, we
Couldn't
didn't
hear
hear
you.
you.
Okay.
Okay, Scott, I.
And Stockton, I.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you, Tracy, for joining us. We hope
There's
you'll
m-
come back.
Good to see you.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
Bye all. Have a good month.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.